This episode of the Alpha Nerds podcast is brought to you by Sponch, now made with 100% real bone marrow.
Welcome to another episode of the Alpha Nerds podcast, the podcast that Pepperidge Farm forgot. I'm Pete.
I'm Bart.
And every week we talk about a show or movie or book or a character or whatever we feel like talking that week. It starts with a certain letter of the alphabet, and this week is V.
V! V for victory. V for vasectomy.
For our Roman listeners, 5.
Oh yeah, this week's episode is 5. We're going to talk about 5 gum.
Stimulate your senses. It's creepier when it's whispered, and that's why I do it.
I'm glad.
And every week we have 5 honorable mentions to talk about that didn't quite make the list of what we wanted to talk about, but we still like it anyway. So, Bart, why don't you kick us off?
All right. So my first up is a movie everybody knows called V for Vendetta.
I've never actually seen that one.
What?
It was It was one of those where it's like the hype train was just too big on it, and I'm just like, I'm gonna stay over here. It's quiet over here, and it got way too cult classic, way too fast for me.
Yeah, the movie got like crazy amounts of attention in 2009 it's 2008 because I was eating breakfast in San Diego and I saw the dudes walk by wearing the masks going up to the Scientology Center because the anonymous protests. That's what made it like the huge cult thing.
Right.
Because before it was just a movie.
Yeah.
But it's a movie directed by the Wachowski brothers, or the Wachowskis, because they're not brothers anymore.
They're sisters.
They're sisters now. I wonder if they're going to change it to the Wachowski sisters, because I know it was the Wachowskis for a while, because one was a sister, one wasn't.
Yeah.
I don't know. Curious. But directed by them, and based on a comic by Alan Moore about a totalitarian government that had taken over Britain and the revolution against that by a man in a Guy Fawkes mask. Which a Guy Fawkes mask wasn't a thing before that comic.
Yep.
Which, that's the weirdest thing. Like, they talk about it so casually, like, he's wearing a Guy Fawkes mask. It's like, that's not a thing.
Yeah, it's like...
There's dolls. There's dolls. They call him the guy. It's like... But yeah. But it is a really good movie. I've liked it. The special effects are really good. The destruction of Parliament to a symphony.
See, that is one movie trope that I'm always down for.
Oh, so good.
Just when horrible things are happening to lovely music. Even Bob's Burgers did that.
Did they?
Gingerbread Massacre.
I haven't seen that one, I don't think.
Really? Oh,
yeah.
So good.
See,
it's so hilarious.
I thought you were going to bring up Kingsman.
Kingsman did that too, although it wasn't exactly like beautiful orchestral music. It was Freebird, which I am also super down for, but still.
It's good.
Although it was also in the last scene where they did another bit classical music, but that wasn't really destruction. It was just like mass murder.
So, pop quiz, how long is Freebird?
13 minutes?
16.
16, that's right.
16, I'm pretty sure on that. Because I remember talking about that when I was younger. Anyways, back to letter V. Next we have everybody's favorite hardcore show, VeggieTales.
Aw, yeah.
So the reason I put VeggieTales on here, it's not really that I want to talk about Larry the Cucumber and Bob the Tomato talking to you about the wonderful things about being a Christian. Because there's so many people involved with this show that would shock you to think that they're involved.
Really?
So, one of the main, voice actors for it is, oh my gosh, I just based on this guy's name. It's not Robert Paulson. His name isn't Robert Paulson. Dang it.
Ron Perlman?
No, who's the guy who did Wacko? Or, not Wacko, Yakko.
Oh, I know who you're talking about, and it's close. His initials are RP.
I'm looking this up. I'm looking this up on air because I will not know this. This is one of my major points of this argument. Rob Paulson. It is Robert. His name is Robert Paulson.
Huh. You bastard! You made me doubt that.
Well, it's the Fight Club thing. I thought I was wrong. Anyways, but yeah, his name is Robert Paulson. But he does Yakko. He's like a huge voice actor, and he's one of their like primaries now.
Yeah.
Another one is early stuff was produced by Doug TenNapel, who was the artist writer for Gear and Creature Tech and Cat Scratch, the Nickelodeon cartoon back in the day, and Earthworm Jim.
Still shocked that he's like a homophobe.
Yeah, that's not cool. And another person who's involved in it who wrote some of the like not early ones, but some of the like later early ones. I don't know how to put that, but it's not the most recent ones, but it's like back from that. Is a guy we met, Ethan Nickel.
Nice.
Who is the artist of Axe Cop, along with the writer of Axe Cop, and he also did a comic called Chumble Spuzz, which the name is a reference to Calvin and Hobbes, so I'm down with that. I still remember talking to that guy, and he's just like, yeah, I'm just kind of here. And I'm like, your stuff looks like Sam Keith. And he's like, yes, it does. I'm like, it's supposed to. That's awesome. I don't know what it is about Comic-Con where I just get, like, drunk brain. How I normally, like, know to talk to humans, that goes away.
Yeah. Same here. Remember that time we, what was... Oh my god. Every name that I know is just leaving my brain right now.
This is a good day to record a podcast.
So good. Son of a bitch.
Butch Hartman?
No. Although that was really cool.
That was cool.
Oh, Brian Posehn. That time we met Brian Posehn.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, that was cool, and I completely forgot how to talk like a human.
Yes, you did. You were like frozen solid, and I was taking the pictures, and I'm like, let's do a sexy one. And I'm like, I'm an idiot. Why would you say that?
Yeah, but he was down for it. He was just like, yeah.
He's a cool dude. But yeah, VeggieTales. You wouldn't think there's that many people involved, but there really is. It's like hugely successful.
I mean, for a long running thing like that, yeah, it's a pretty big production.
Yeah. And then my number 3 is a video game called Beautiful Joe.
Love that game.
Yeah, that game's so good.
It's pretty.
It's a love letter to old like Japanese superhero TV shows like Kamen Rider and gosh, what's another one? Power Rangers, well, whatever they called it in Japan.
Yeah. But yeah, it's basically where that helmeted / masked superhero, usually wearing an absurdly long scarf, just like comes out from screen left to just knee somebody in the face. Flying death kick.
So good. I remember the one trick I could never get down was the use an action, then zoom in, and your attacks get stronger.
Oh,
I could never master that because it was like kick, C-stick, and then you had to keep hitting the kick button. I just couldn't wrap my head around it. Yeah. So I mentioned this on the show before. I got stuck on the shark boss, finally powered through him, powered through the rest of the game, got stuck on the refight of the shark boss, and never actually beat the game. But it's a platinum game, so like I'm not really beaten by that because platinum games are really hard.
Yeah, they're right up there with what is it?
Team Ninja.
Atlas.
Oh yeah, Atlas games suck.
And and Team Ninja, except for Ninja Gaiden 3, bullshit game. It's just one long ass tutorial.
I have beaten one Atlas game.
Which one?
Persona 3? No, Persona 4.
Mine was Trauma Center.
I beat it, I got the bad ending, and I don't care. So Trauma Center, if you don't disinfect the people after you sew them up, you get points off, but you can't fail the mission by that.
Huh.
Yeah, because speedrunners just never disinfect afterwards. It's just like, sew you up, go. Get that guy out of my hospital. Weird.
Okay.
Those dudes are, like, you want to see a cool speedrun. Speedrun for Trauma Center. Because those dudes move that Wiimote so fast.
Oh, they're doing it on the Wii.
Yeah.
I was talking about the DS.
I've never seen that. But yeah, that dude's hand just moves so fast, like stitching people up and hitting the right spots. It's insane.
Oh yeah,
All right,
Doctor
next on my
Doctor
list because
Derek
my
Styles because you use a stylus.
oh, that's awesome. I like that. I like that hokiness.
Yeah,
But we'll see later how much I love hokiness. Next on my list is Van Helsing.
love that movie.
Dude, that movie's so good. I mean, it misses on delivering stuff, but it like because one of the early scenes you see is him talking to a guy and he's like, "What are you dreaming about?" He's like, "I was fighting in like this battle," and they're like, "That was 400. That was like 1600 years ago." He's like, "I know, weird," and they never really
Yeah,
address that. It's the
they
only
they imply that Van Helsing is like apparently like just immortal or something. Like he's just been alive
yeah
for centuries.
yeah. It's just that one Dracula line where he's like, "We have been combating for centuries." It's one of those. I mean, cool, but what?
Yeah, where it's like, did I
Like,
mention it was you who murdered me? It's like,
ba
no,
ba ba ba.
I don't think you mentioned that. But I'm gonna murder you, so yay.
Another fun fact about that film: his name isn't actually the name of Van Helsing
No, no, it is not.
because he is Gabriel Van Helsing, I think,
Yes,
and the main character or the character in Dracula is Abraham Van Helsing,
yes.
the insane German man who's just like, "It's vampires! I swear it's vampires! I can taste them."
She will become one herself.
Yeah.
Mel Brooks is the best Van Helsing.
You said that sentence like 2 words too like late. Mel Brooks is the best.
Yeah,
Period.
yeah.
Mel Brooks is awesome, man.
He really is. He's coming back for Hotel Transylvania 3.
Oh, nice.
Not sure how I feel about that because I mean they kind of shoved him to the side a little bit. I'm like, it's Mel Brooks. Why is he not starring in this? Adam Sandler, get off stage.
You know what else they did was or not like that particular group, but just Hollywood in general. Ghost Rider 2. They had Christopher Lambert, and they did not use Christopher Lambert.
Yeah.
He was there to be like, cage the boy, throw the rest in jail, and then walks away, and then later on he gets offed. And that's
Yeah,
it.
and then the whole rest of the audience is sitting there like just was that the Highlander?
I couldn't see through the
What?
tattoos. Was that the Highlander?
What? Why are they just why are they using the Highlander for such a small part?
Shouldn't
Did
it
he
be like
just
the main bad guy?
did he just wander onto the set one day?
Okay, another fun fact. So Christopher Lambert can't see well. He needs like really strong glasses.
Don't we all?
Members of this podcast too.
Yeah.
But that gives him this like when he looks like he's like staring somebody down. It's that he's kind of squinting because he can't really see them. He's like, look really intensely this direction. Okay. It's like he's looking right through me. He kind of is. He thinks you're a shelf.
Oh man.
And then my last one, because we're still going on mine.
Yeah.
But we're getting good stuff here. My last one is Valerian in the City of a Thousand Planets.
See, I have not seen that one yet.
It is free on Amazon Prime, which is how I watched it.
Nice.
And I watched it yesterday. And the first, like, I think 10, 15 minutes are amazing. The second humans you see, when they start talking, the movie dive bombs. And just like, oh, good, teenagers talking about how much they love each other. I'm not sick of this at all.
Fantastic.
While you're fighting your brain shutting down. And they're not teenagers, but they couldn't have gotten 2 people that look younger, and then they put them in big chunky suits that even make them look like kids past that.
Yeah.
Which, I love Luc Besson. I love The Fifth Element. Fifth Element's one of the best action films ever made.
Really is.
The opera scene. Does anybody else want to negotiate? The like weird golden bird man. The scene with the fire at the very end. The nobody breathe and you hear Chris Tucker. Oh, so good.
Chris Tucker.
But when he was directing that movie, somebody on stage was like, "Why are you directing this? You should be directing Valerian." Because it's like French comic books, I guess.
Hmm.
But it just didn't like. Maybe if your lead character was somebody more like likable, like your Bruce Willis or like a Chris Pratt, a Chris Pines, like somebody who can make lighthearted jokes and it actually looks like a joke.
I remember seeing the commercials for it, and I just remember thinking, like, okay, this looks really cool, but as soon as that kid opened his mouth, I wanted to punch him.
Yeah.
So if we can go this whole movie with him saying a total of 30 words, I'll be fine.
If you had like the universe they build is actually really cool, really fun, and the like other creatures are well designed. But it's just like it's an amazing, beautiful, fantastic world, and you're being drugged through it with two of the most boring people in the world. That girl looks confused all the time.
Well,
Is
granted that they probably acted their entire parts in a green room. Like a room of green screens.
yeah, a lot of the scenes. I'll give you that.
So if you got nothing to act against except an X drawn on a wall, you're not going to give exactly a command performance. It's why the prequel trilogy sucked so hard.
Yeah, but if you have somebody who's like Ian McKellen status, they can do that.
They can, but you can't. Like they literally threw like a suction cup with a little googly eye on it on the wall and said, "That's where General Grievous's head is. So look at that when you're reciting your lines." So poor Ewan McGregor is just like trying to act against a wall with a googly eye on it and pretend he's looking at Space Dracula.
Yeah, but they made no because they did finalize what Space Dracula looked like by then, didn't they?
Yeah, they did. I'm talking about episode 2.
Grievous wasn't in episode 2.
Yes, he was. Oh, wait, shit. What am I thinking?
Episode 3. Yeah.
Damn. Ugh.
Don't you Star Wars me, Star Wars man, with your laser swords. The fact that people took offense to that line makes me laugh.
People took offense to that line?
Yeah, because he calls it a laser sword. It's like, it's like the character is intending to put down what it is.
Yeah. Exactly that.
I don't get it. Anyways, that's my 5. Pete, what do you got for us?
Well, first off, I've got Vlad the Impaler.
Ooh.
And not talking about the actual historical figure, but rather the graphic novel of the same name about the historical figure.
Oh.
And it is gruesome.
Yeah?
Yeah. So in it, we have scenes of people being tortured to death. And I mean the whole, like, stuck on a spike while alive so that the crows can eat them alive.
Yeah. When you got a name like the Impaler.
Yeah. There's a part where people are buried up to their up to their necks, and then have their faces cut off.
Ah.
And then they get stoned to death. Because, yeah.
Gosh, yeah, that's horrible.
Dude, Wallachians are fucking crazy.
Right?
Just, Anyway. It's actually pretty good. And it's actually like, it's told in a narrative sense, and the narrator is actually Bram Stoker's Dracula, who was like, now you see why I'm so pissed that some pissant named Bram Stoker decided to name me after what was honestly one of the most terrifying people of all time. So now I have to bust my ass to live up to that reputation. So that was pretty good how they did that. Second up is Vinny from Atlantis: The Lost Empire.
Is he anybody's cousin?
No.
Okay.
No.
Had to verify that.
Joe Pesci's nowhere near this.
Joe Pesci's not far. Like, how Vinny acts?
He's pretty far.
Anyways, go ahead.
But, it's like, hey, Vinny, what do you got there? Oh, just, some, TNT, nitroglycerin, couple of bombs, paper clips, big ones, office supplies. So, yeah, it was great. And he's probably my favorite character in that entire movie.
He's a pretty good one.
Like, when he explains his background story, it's like, ah, I work in this flower shop, and it's prom season, and everybody is all, when is it, where is it, doesn't match my dress, it's a nightmare. Anyway, I guess next door there was this gas leak. All of a sudden, boom! No more Chinese laundry.
Sorry. So, do you know who played the Grand Priest in that movie?
I feel like I knew at one point, but I can't remember.
It's everybody's favorite Vulcan, Leonard Nimoy.
Oh yeah, that's right. That makes sense now. Which brings me to one of my next top 5. Vulcans.
Yeah!
They're basically space elves. And they're great. Next!
Wait, what?
Vulcans, they're space elves and they're great. That's all I gotta say. So, next up, Velma Dinkley from Scooby-Doo. Honestly, the only capable member of that entire group. Show should have been called Velma, the end.
Yeah, Shaggy and Scooby always caught the guy.
Never on purpose.
But they caught them.
They literally fell on him.
Yeah, well, that counts.
When your whole presence can be replaced by a sandbag on a skateboard, you're not a good part of the team.
No, they're a great part of the team.
No, they're not.
Yeah, the show's named Scooby-Doo.
A large part of that team's budget had to go to dog food. Dog food that a hippie eats.
Would you do it for 2 Scooby snacks?
Oh, you knew it was serious when it went up to 3 Scooby snacks each. It was like, wow, this is some serious shit they're about to go into. Anyway.
But yeah,
Velma, honestly, cuter than Daphne, in my opinion. Way cuter.
A nerdy guy that finds Velma attractive. I've never heard of that before.
Not just attractive, more attractive than Daphne, the one who's supposed to be attractive.
They I forgot what I was going to say. Never mind.
Last up, Vegas. Las Vegas. Fuck Vegas.
No.
Fuck Vegas. It's terrible. It's hot. It's dirty. It's murdery. It's traffic jammy. And then it's hot again. The end.
Traffic jammy, Mr.
Traffic
California?
jammy.
Traffic jammy, Mr. California.
Yeah. Well, at least people want to be here.
I've never been in sitting still traffic like I have in San Diego. Where I could have gotten out, used the restroom, gotten back out of my car, drinking a big gulp, left my car again, used the restroom again, and then I'd have to hurry back because by that time it's probably moving. But still.
I don't consider the Coronado Bridge a part of California.
As an independent land that belongs to Coronado.
Yeah.
Las Vegas is amazing. It's fun. You know what I get to drive by when I go to work every morning? I get to drive by a castle, a scale model in New York, a giant Statue of Liberty, the world's largest bronze statue, and the Tropicana. But the other 3 are really sweet.
It's terrible. French circuses everywhere. No more white lions, Bart. No more shows with white lions. No more Amazing Jonathan.
No more Amazing Jonathan.
No more pirate shows at Treasure Island. Now it's called T.I.
There's still pirate shows. They just sing. And they're boy bands. Oh, gosh.
Your argument is flawed, St. Cloud. You must sterilize.
What the heck was that a reference to?
That was a reference to something I'm going to talk about later.
Okay.
So, get to your main subject. What do you got?
Well, let's punch through mine so I can get to yours. You jerk. So my topic this week, starting with the letter V, since there's so much good stuff with the letter V that I had to actually narrow down my honorable mentions from 8 to 5. I'm talking about a Very Brady Sequel, the 1996 sequel to the Brady Bunch movie.
Ha!
It's here. It's freaking great. I love the Bradys. Pete, do you love the Bradys? Do you know them enough to name all 8? Technically 9. Well, kind of 9. But do you know enough to name all 8?
Let's see. There's Marcia, Jan, Cindy, Bobby, Greg, Tom,
No, no, no. I'll give you a hint.
Tom Brady.
I'll give you a hint. Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
uh, oh, Peter.
Yep.
And then there's Mom Brady and Dad Brady and Alice.
They have names.
No, they don't.
Yes, they do.
No, they don't.
Yes, they do. They
No,
have names.
folly on that. No names. They're Mom and Dad Brady.
They have names because think back to Shelley Long going, Mike. And her name was Carol.
Oh yeah, that's right.
But major stars of this movie are Gary Cole, who played Mike Brady in this, but he was a drug dealer in Pineapple Express. He was Lindbergh in Office Space. He's that guy.
Oh, Lundberg.
Lundbergh. He was Harvey Birdman, attorney at law. He's Gary Cole.
I love that show so much.
He's one of those actors who's just been everywhere. Yeah. Speaking of voiceover actors, his kid, well, Greg Brady, he's not directly related to Gary Cole, he's just an actor, is Christopher Barnes, or Christopher Daniel Barnes, or C.D. Barnes, or he goes by a bunch of different names. But he played the voice of Spider-Man back in the 90s show.
Oh, yeah.
He played the voice of Prince Eric in A Little Mermaid. So that dude's set. Like, just off doing, like, Disney residuals, he's got a pretty good gig.
Yeah, pretty much. Wait, was Eric a prince?
Yeah? He had a castle. Wasn't it a castle? Yeah, it was a castle. He had a butler in Grand Halls.
Huh.
That was a very expensive wedding. Anyway, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But, yeah, he plays Greg Brady, and he plays an awesome Greg Brady for reasons we'll discuss in a bit. And then Christine Taylor, or Christine Taylor Stiller, as most people know her, plays Marcia. Ben Stiller's wife, she's in Zoolander. She's in, frankly, a lot of movies with him, and it's weird. Well, it's not weird. We know exactly why, but yeah.
Yeah.
And then, fun fact, the girl who played Jan was 26 when they filmed it, and she was older than the girl who played Marcia.
Huh.
Yeah, she doesn't look 26, but it's one of those, 26 probably, yeah.
Well, then again, it was like old Hollywood, so...
Dude, this is the 90s.
Yeah, that's old Hollywood to me now.
It's not that old Hollywood.
It's 20. It's almost 30.
It is almost 30. Okay. And I forgot. Carol is played by Shelley Long, who was in a bunch of like kids movies when we were kids. But the main thing I know her from is she was Diane off Cheers, and she was great.
That's right. Cheers was good.
Dude, Cheers was awesome. If somebody said like I will let you make whatever show you want, I would remake Cheers.
Although, in order to make it like current, the bar would no longer be a happy place. It would be either really sad or really expensive.
Well, no, you could do it.
You either get Moose Lodge. You either get the Moose Lodge or you get Studio 54.
Yeah. Well, you could have a bartender who's like, your young mixologist, who's like, dude, we sell beer. Can I interest you in a homemade old fashioned? If you're talking about old fashioned Heineken, then yes, I would like an old fashioned Heineken. Yes. But Shelley Long, she was great in Cheers. Like, I love Cheers. Which, fun fact about Cheers, they filmed Cheers on film stock instead of on tape, like every other show that was coming out around that time, because they wanted to make it look like it was from an older age.
I can see that.
Yeah, it's great. Like, you could even do that, where you film with, like, older cameras, or maybe you even do it on tape, like, just for kicks. Except tape ages poorly, so maybe that's not the best one. In any case.
Yeah.
Just don't throw a filter on it. Don't do the lazy thing.
Yeah.
And music for this movie was done by Guy Moon. Pete, do you know what Guy Moon did?
His name is so familiar, but I honestly can't remember.
He does, I think, Fairly Odd Parents, but definitely Danny Phantom.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Or he did Danny Phantom. Danny Phantom's been off the air for like a decade.
Nice.
Um, so basic premise of our Very Brady sequel. You have Mike and Carol doing the renewal vows. When they do the tossing of the bouquet at the end of it, there shows up this man who's like, I'm looking for Carol Brady." And he's like, "I'm Carol Brady. Why are you looking for her?" And he's like, "I'm your husband." And then she passes out. So
Because that's, the female response to any shocking news. Just, ah!
so what happens is he supposedly survived a like boat accident that happened, swam to shore, was working to get back to America. An elephant stepped on his face, and then he had to get plastic surgery so he looks completely different. And then got back there. And this marriage nullifies the marriage to Greg Brady, which leads down this rabbit hole of like all these things. One of the things
Quick
that
question.
what
How do you get your face stepped on by an elephant?
well, we'll address that.
How, like, the elephant.
Well, are you
Then you
honestly
have to
going to
be
say
near.
that you,
Then you have to be near an elephant. And then you have to say, that ground by the elephant's foot looks like a fine place for my face.
well, you've tripped and fell, right? So let's say you just trip and fall on some elephant dung, which is very dry because they're herbivores and they have so many stomachs, and you just happen to slip, and the elephant just happens to be stepping, and you're walking right in front of it because you have no regard to OSHA laws, and you just kind of
That's why we always wear helmets, kids.
safety is paramount. Anyways, so one of the bits they do in this is we have to share a room because we have to make room for Mom's old husband.
Oh no!
So Greg's far out pad in the attic becomes like shared with Marcia, and they do what happens in a sitcom with two people who don't want to share a room share a room?
Odd couple.
No, you draw a line down the middle of the room, perfectly lined up with the camera.
Yeah.
It's decorated on one side one way, it's decorated on the other side the other way. Did they do that in the Odd Couple?
I feel like they should have. They probably did, but this is like the whole dividing a room down the middle is a trope that's been part of cinematic history for decades.
Oh yeah, this is like old school sitcom tropes.
I just watched an episode of South Park where they did that, where it was like people who are pro-war and anti-war, and they're like, all right, draw a line down the center of town, and you stay on your side, we'll stay on our side. And they're like, wait, your side has a post office. Well, your side has the pharmacy. Well, you can use a post office if we can use a pharmacy. Yeah, okay. Guys, this isn't gonna work. Don't you see? We should just be beating the hell out of each other like we were. He's right. Boy, do I feel silly.
Nice.
I love South Park so much.
South Park's awesome. So they have the scene in the attic where they like pull the curtain between them. It's like, I don't want to share my room, and then he watches like Marcia like undress, and it kicks on the sex music. Because not technically his sister.
Dude, I have watched all of Game of Thrones twice. I can't be fazed by incest anymore.
So there's that scene, and he's like, I need to look away, and like turns around, and he starts unbuttoning his shirt. And she's brushing her hair. She's like, 1, 2, 3, 4. Looks through the curtain. 4, 4, 4. Like taking off his shirt, and the like acting in this scene is just awesome because like the dude who's playing Greg is given like the little like eyebrow twitches and stuff, and like the wide eyes and like the moments. And he's like, Marcia. And she's like, yeah, Greg. He's like, what? And it cuts to him just enough to get the like look of just like, wait, what was that? And she's like, I mean, what?
Great.
And that's kind of a running gag throughout the show because there's so it turns out that the guy who showed up that her husband isn't really her husband. He's a guy who actually rigged the boat to crash that her husband was on. And then he is just pretending to get an antique that her husband had that's worth like $20 million. And he's going to just steal it and sell it.
So that's how they could afford 6 kids and a maid.
Yep. Well, they didn't know. But
Oh.
still, he's an architect. Architects make that amount of money.
Well, I actually don't
Yeah,
know. I've never spoken to an architect.
that's why they use them in movies. They want a career that you have an undefined amount of income. It's both artistic and it's hardworking. They use architects.
Ugh, God, it's so boring.
That's why in The Lake House, he's an architect. Thanks, Keanu Reeves.
Bleh.
That movie has problems, but I like Keanu Reeves, so whatever. So there's a scene where he steals Carol and runs off to Hawaii where his like buyer is. So then the family jumps on a plane and goes to Hawaii. And then they're like, I forgot my hairbrush, says Marcia. And then the plane turns around and goes back to America and then takes off again. And they need to pass the time, so of course they sing a jaunty song. Because it's the Brady Bunch they sing. And it's like, it's not badly choreographed or anything. It's just one of those songs that's meant to just be so like saccharine soaked and like poppy that you just want to die. Yeah, that happens. So when they're in Hawaii, Greg's surfing. The other two see him, or Marcia and I think Cindy see him, and he like falls off a surfboard. And, oh no, he needs CPR. So Marcia gives him CPR. He wakes up, sees her face, and he's like, huh. And then suddenly just the face again, and he's like, I've gotta leave. I gotta go. Something came up.
Go place.
I'd love that something suddenly came up, and then he just runs into the ocean. Now the entire time he's saying this, he's bent over at the waist. And that is such a small touch that I was watching it. I'm like, I know exactly what just came up, don't it? I'm right, ain't it, Greg? This movie also references because the something suddenly came up. That's a reference to an episode of the old show, the sharing the attic. That's a reference to one of the old episodes. Another one
insert
is
of the SpongeBob SquarePants meme. Just you like your stepsister, don't you, Squidward?
No. But them going to Hawaii is a reference to the episode where the Bradys go Hawaii, and they find a like cursed tiki idol and
No.
what was it? What?
Every time something bad happened because the tiki was evil, it was just like no.
I don't remember that, but I believe it.
Yeah.
Because there's a scene where like Roy, who's the bad guy, is riding away with Carol, and then like their Jeep pops a tire, and he like pulls the tiki out, and he's like, "Great!" And then I think she runs away after that. Because there's a scene where she's alone she's walking through the grass, and she's like, "Oh, this humidity would do horrors on my hair. Thank goodness I use Aquanet." And I'm like, "Nice plug for Aquanet." I remember that line like 20 years later. There's throughout the movie Jan, because Jan was the main character of the first movie. And Jan is her little like insanity is just kind of endearing, and everybody treating her like Meg and just kind of kicking her when she's down.
Yeah.
But she's pretending she has a boyfriend named George Glass and doing like ordering flowers to herself and all that. Yeah. And it's like, this is perfect 70s cheese. Executed in the 90s in a really good way. Another thing they do from the 70s really well is 70s animation. Because Roy gets magic mushrooms from some like shady guy at the beginning of the movie. And then when Alice cooks him spaghetti for dinner because he didn't want to eat the meatloaf, she made it with the mushrooms in his room because she thought he'd like them.
Fantastic.
So it's a scene where he realized what's happening. He's like, my mushrooms. Oh no. Roy, are you okay? And she has like flowers on her shirt. And then the flowers like fly off. He's, I'm tripping with the Bradys. Goes to this like, Bradys are like walking through a sunshine forest and it's doing the good morning starshine. The earth says hello. There's a bird with a wizard hat like making portals. And he's like, ah.
Oh, man.
That part was really cool. And it was a reference to an old Brady. There was a Brady Kids cartoon. I didn't know that.
That honestly doesn't sound like something that needed to exist.
No, but it happened. And it references other 70s shows. So at the end of the movie, there's a big showdown with, well, it's the buyer, Carol, who just happened to stumble to the buyer's house, and Roy, who's there with a horse statue. And the buyer says, "What you didn't know, Mr. Martin, is that my son was first mate on that boat you wrecked. And thanks to that, I'll never see my boy Gilligan again." It goes to Carol, "Or my husband, the professor." I love connecting those two. That makes so
Great.
much sense. And the
So
guy's
good.
like, but what if they're okay? What if they're just abandoned on some uncharted desert isle? He's like, "Face it, the minnow is lost." Because Gilligan's Island was actually made by the same dude who made the Brady Bunch. So it even works like that.
Nice.
And then there's a fight between Roy and Mike Brady, and Mike Brady like karate punches him or like uppercuts him into a pool, and that's whatever. But um and then they go back and they do the re-renewing of the vows, and they have the big ceremony, and they do the bouquet toss, and then this woman picks it up and she's like, "I'm looking for Mike Brady." "Oh, I'm Mike Brady. How can I help you?" "I'm his wife."
No.
Dun, 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 dun. That's not it, is it? That's not the "I Dream of Jeannie" one. No. Okay, never mind. Sorry.
No,
But
I dream of genius. Da, 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 da,
da,
da,
da,
da.
da, da, da. Schmaltzy 70s sitcoms. There was something so pure about them. Well, there was something so just stupidly innocent
Yeah.
that you didn't get in the 80s. Like, name an 80s sitcom.
Um, Fresh Prince.
Yeah, Fresh Prince.
Wait, or was that 90s?
That was 80s to 90s.
Okay.
Because it started off
Um,
when Will Smith was young, and the last two seasons were like Independence Day came out before that show ended.
what about Alf?
Alf was definitely 90s. That was big when we were
Uh,
kids. But stuff like Family Ties.
oh yeah. Family Matters too.
Yeah. But the later ones were focused more on the kids, less on like the family as a whole.
Yeah.
70s ones like Partridge Family and Brady Bunch, or stuff like Bewitched, where it was actually focused on a married couple. Now, if you're doing a sitcom, it's like single people can't get a date. Oh. Thank you, Friends. Thank you for that.
Fuck Friends. Fuck them with their stupid never going to work in the middle of the day because they're sitting around drinking coffee with their stupidly overly expensive fucking loft apartment. Ugh.
uh,
Like there are plenty of videos on YouTube that show how every single one of the people in Friends are terrible people, but still.
yeah. Um, Friends without the laughter is weird to watch.
It
I mean,
really is.
it works with pretty much any sitcom because there's the pausing for the laughter that you don't hear. So it's awkward, but it makes sense why they're pausing because there should be a laugh track in there.
But
Um,
Chandler becomes just a douchebag because you get like all the sarcasm, none of the laughter.
yes. Um, but even the actors aren't laughing. That's what makes it so weird is that even the characters aren't laughing, even though stuff like Big Bang Theory, if somebody burns somebody sufficiently, the background characters will be like,
Yeah.
like they should. Um, but anyways, to get back to the Very Brady's movie. So this thing came out in 1996. Adam's Family movie came out in 1991. And I don't think this would have existed without that movie happening.
Probably not, no.
Because you took an old sitcom. Oh, Adam's Family can really exist in any time period, but making it a contrast to the modern era is probably the best way to do it.
Yeah.
The same works with this Brady Bunch, where let's take this innocent, hokey family and just stick them in the middle of the 90s. And the Bradys can get away with being hokey. The Bradys can get away with being dumb because of the hokiness. Because they were never socially aware. They were always just a pile of corn.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, yeah.
There's an awesome line from Death to Smoochie. I couldn't find the exact quote, so I have to paraphrase it. But it's talking about the guy who is Smoochie. It's like if he was any more wholesome, he'd be an ear of corn. This is a field of corn.
Yeah.
This is just hokiness in purest form. And now when you bring that to modern day, that works perfectly as a comparison. Like in the original Brady Bunch movie where Peter was being seduced by the neighbor's wife and he just had no idea how to deal with it. He was just like, feelings, and just ran away.
Man.
The Wikipedia articles for this was saying that this led to other like 70s shows coming back, like Starsky and Hutch got a movie, Charlie's Angels got a movie, 21 Jump Street. But I think 21 Jump Street has nothing to do with this because it came out so much later.
Pretty much. And I think because, well, honestly, I can't even really speak on 21 Jump Street, the original series, because I had never heard of it, and I've never heard anyone talk about it until it became a movie, and then people are like, "Oh, based on that old TV show." I was like, "It was a TV show?"
Yeah, is that Johnny Depp in it? That's what its claim to fame was.
Yeah.
But Starsky and Hutch and Charlie's Angels, when they're acting like 70s cornballs, it doesn't really work as much because it's like you're not just an idiot, you're an idiot cop. How have you not gone to like prison yet? You're a moron and you're a cop who just wrecked this thing. Like you shouldn't have a badge, you should be in jail.
Yeah,
But
pretty much.
for the Bradys it works because the only person that works at his job is Mike. And we don't really see him be an architect. We just see him be a dad. We see him say stuff like, and I quote, "A gift is only a good thing when the giver has given that thought to that gift. But when the giver gives grief, then that gift should give the givee regrets."
What?
So dumb. And so just like 70s corniness and like nobody actually talks like that. But it's a parody of the kind of things that were said in those shows.
That sounds about right.
And it's so good. Like, I like it. Maybe I just happen to be the target audience for it. But I dig it.
I might as well call you a one of those vegetable oil engines because you just run on corn.
Yeah, pretty much. But the first movie was actually like a bit more socially progressive because it had RuPaul in it. Playing Miss Cunningham, the school counselor.
Nice.
But again, it like also had a scene of Jan and a fro, so take a pick. But I like this version of the Bradys, just making them just like, "Oh, Heidi ho, neighbor," just like at that level, supplanted to the like the mid '90s where everybody was trying to be edgy.
Oh man.
Oh. But that's it. A Very Brady sequel, a Very Brady podcast. Pete, what do you got for us?
This week I'm going to talk about Venture Brothers.
Ooh, messed up family dynamics.
Yeah.
Dun, 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 dun. That's not the song for that either. No. That's not the song that goes. The song goes like.
Well, no, you're supposed to do 24's part.
No, I started this. I do whatever I want.
Okay.
What's the name of that song?
It's 21 and 24 suit up. I don't know.
No. What's the name of the song that's based on?
I don't know.
No, you have to know. Look it up. I'll wait. Look up song that goes da 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 da. It's actually Mars by Holst.
Really? So Venture Brothers started on Adult Swim in February of 2003. So long ass time ago, and the first episode was just like a flash animation. It was like basically as bare bones a pilot as you can get, and it was not anywhere near what it is today. And for good reason. So the first episode came in 2003, in early 2003. First season started mid 2004. So we've got basically like a year and a half of space between when it was first shown to the network and when it finally got syndicated. So it was created by Christopher McCulloch, who's also known as Jackson Public on Adult Swim. And he's done a lot of other shows, but in my opinion, none as good as Venture Brothers.
I met him at Comic-Con.
Nice.
He was walking across the 12th Street Bridge, and I'm like, the guy he was walking with was Doc Hammer, who does a lot of the other voices.
Yeah, you told me about that.
because Doc Hammer has black hair with a bright white streak in it. So I was like, "You're Doc Hammer, aren't you?" He's like, "Yeah, I am." I'm like, "You're awesome." He's like, "And I'm Jackson Public," and I was like, "I didn't hear what you said." I'm guessing that's what he said. He's like, "And I'm blah, 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 blah."
So this show is basically just one long parody of those young boy adventure shows like Johnny Quest or the
Mm-hmm.
Hardy Boys or
Mm-hmm.
Young Indiana Jones. You remember that
Mm-hmm.
ill-fated TV show? Just ugh.
Oh yeah, stuff like C Lab,
Yeah,
not C Lab 2021, the parody, but C Lab.
yeah. Just anyway. So and it this show's got some David Bowie references. It's got a lot of David Bowie references. Just
Yeah.
lots and lots of David Bowie references.
So this show is the reason why I like David Bowie.
This show introduced me to David Bowie as well. Like, I didn't really know. I had no idea. Like, I was like, oh, David Bowie. He's got a cool name. And I learned about him. I'm like, this guy's amazing.
Like I learned about the first time I heard about David Bowie was a Harland Williams skit where he mentions that David Bowie has two colored eyes. So David Bowie's actually a husky, and the government doesn't want you to know that David Bowie's actually a husky. But first Bowie reference in the show I remember was the Major Tom's plane going down.
Yes.
Because
When
it is
they're
line for
line, ground control, and Major Tom.
Yeah, Space Oddity.
Yeah.
And then later when my sister gave me a CD, I'm like, oh, I recognize these words. And then I'm like, wait, these words mean so much more now. And then it's like you usually do when you're listening to David Bowie, your eyes just kind of glaze over and you like blast off into the stars.
Yeah. It's amazing. So the first season starts off like pretty episodic. Pretty much anything that happens doesn't really have consequence, and nothing really carries on to the next episode until probably about halfway through. And then shit starts getting real, and you get secondary characters interacting with each other and establishing lasting relationships. So there's a lot of really great characters in this show, and I've only written down ones that I feel like I can talk about in the time I have. There's way more. So, starting off with the Venture family. We've got Thaddeus S. Venture, also known as Rusty Venture, who is the grown-up version of that boy adventurer, like, basically what would happen if Johnny Quest grew up. And
yeah.
He's a mess. He's just terrible. He's a shitty scientist. He is basically just coasting on his dad's career, who's dead. So, it's just, it's awful. He calls himself a scientist, but he couldn't science his way out of a nutsack.
No. Gah.
Yeah.
Is that a quote or is that you?
That's me.
Be proud of that one.
I am. So, yeah, he, like, just want to punch him in his stupid beardy face.
I don't get that problem, but he is terrible he's a bad father and a bad son and a drug addict.
And a bad friend in general.
And a bad friend.
And he has this, like, weird inflated ego where he, like, considers himself, like, a playboy or whatever. Like, the first time he meets this super sexy female assassin, her name's Molotov Cocktease. I love the names in this show!
Oh, yeah.
It's so great. But, so he looks at Maul and, he talks to Brock, who's the bodyguard, voiced by Patrick Warburton. Perfect casting for this character.
Again, all you have to say to, like, make something awesome, voiced by Patrick Warburton.
Yeah. And then, he's like, oh, so you and her have history? And he's like, no, not exactly, no. And then he just, like, gives him that look of, like, the one raised eyebrow and, like, slightly cocked shoulders, just like, well, then Rusty calls dibs. He calls himself Rusty, and I just want to punt him in the dick. But, yeah, he considers himself a playboy, and he's a tiny man. He's tiny, gangly. He weighs about 108 pounds. Like, you could probably get like, you could probably throw him, probably get a pretty tight spiral on him.
Yeah, if you did punt him, I think you could probably clear 10 feet.
I feel like I would at least, like, get him off the ground. Probably get, like, I don't want to say a lot of hang time, but more than I would expect.
Yeah. You get more than you expect because as he's pulling in his legs and covering the crotch, then the height shrinks. So that's why.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Anyway, so then we have the boys, Hank and Dean. And they're basically the Hardy Boys. They're way too innocent for their own good. They're all about solving mysteries and having adventures, and they call their dad Pop.
They're so innocent.
Just like...
And the boys are actively trying to grow up throughout the, like, show.
They really are.
And sometimes they do.
They're learning what, like, life is all about and everything, and...
Stuff they should have learned about maybe 5 years ago, but whatever. Yeah. Let's just go with
this. when Dr. Venture gives Dean the sex talk, he's like, now I'm gonna sit you down, have a talk. I'm gonna tell you what every young man your age has known for about 5 years now.
Mm-hmm.
And
leave the hat on.
Awful. Anyway, so as the seasons progress, Dean is clearly the favorite son in this family. Like, Dr. Venture has basically, like, chosen, like, oh, you're gonna be the super scientist boy adventurer, and then and then Hank is basically thrown by the wayside, and he's just like, fuck you, Dad.
Yeah.
And it's really great. And also, there's a third Venture brother, half brother. His name's Dermot, and he's amazing.
I wouldn't say amazing. I would say Dermot's, like, he's there.
He's hilarious.
He's funny, but yeah.
He's that kid that we all knew growing up that tries way too hard to impress people.
Mm-hmm. I was that kid.
Like, he tries to, like, oh, man. And it's not even
shaggy
like
hair,
it's not even like endearingly trying to impress you. It's like almost obnoxiously trying to impress you, like, you know, bragging like, yeah, I can totally hotwire a car, and it's like, no, you can't.
It's just condescending.
Yeah,
to everybody about everything.
Basically,
I was that kid.
I feel like we were all that kid because fucking teenagers are terrible people. We are all terrible people at one point, and then we just grow out of it, hopefully. Sometimes it doesn't work out like that.
Yeah, sometimes.
Anyway, so then we've also got a robotic manservant character in the family. His name is Helper, and he just talks in these obnoxiously loud beeps. And I know what you're thinking, like, oh, you mean like R2-D2? Not like R2-D2.
Kind of like R2-D2.
More like Beaker.
Yeah.
Just... Somehow the family can understand him. Brock has had arguments with Helper about music.
What he's talking about?
Yeah. Jock Rock, listen to those lyrics, man. They're all about love and longing. What are you talking about? Yeah, it's fucking dwarves and dragons, man. And it's like, oh, wait, hang on. Tracker's picked up the boys. Don't think we're done talking about this. He's having an argument with a fucking robot. Anyway.
Well, eventually, later he does, like, the fusion dance with that robot.
He kind of does, yeah.
He got a fake heart made out of his robot friend. It's very touching.
Ever since the Iron Man, everyone wants the robot heart.
Forgot about that line.
Oh, God. Okay.
So we've covered everybody in the family, right? We've covered Dr. V. We've covered Brock Simpson. We've covered Hank and Dean.
We've covered the family, but we haven't covered everybody who lives on the Venture compound.
Oh, no. There's one member of the family we haven't covered yet.
I might be thinking of the same one, but which one are you talking about?
JJ.
JJ, yes. Jonas Venture Jr. He was he was Dr. Venture's twin brother that he ate in the womb. And then he punched didn't exactly punch his way out, but he basically like lived in Rusty's abdomen like a tumor until he basically like just saw his opportunity to leave, and then tried to kill Dr. Venture, and even built a pretty sick robot suit to do it. And
Out of
then
the oven, yeah.
and then he got out of the robot suit, and he's a tiny little. He's somebody that Peter Dinklage would make short jokes about.
Yes, you're looking at chiseled, perfect 1960s scientist head on little baby body with a little chicken wing arm.
Like,
no fingers. It's just it's like the penguin.
yeah, you ever melt a troll doll?
Yeah.
That body.
Yeah.
Or actually, no, hang on. There were two characters. Okay, I'll get to them in a bit, but their names are Ward and Watch. And the first time they see him, it's like, oh my god, when you were a kid, did you ever make G.I. Joe hump Rainbow Bright? Yeah, he's what their kid would have looked like.
Oh, that's messed up.
But it's dead on.
Yeah.
Ward and Watch are amazing. So, anyway, there's a slew of supporting characters and villains and just random characters and whole agencies of characters, literal agencies.
Yep.
Because they've got the hero game worked out to like a sort of bureaucracy, and it's hilarious. So, any self-respecting villain goes through the proper channels of this huge villainous conclave known as the Guild of Calamitous Intent. Great name. So good.
Oh, yeah. Into season 1, they are like, they are legitimately feared by the characters. And when I was watching it when I was a kid, I was like, oh, shoot, Guild don't play around. Never mind.
Now, when the Guild first gets introduced to us, it's probably halfway through season 1.
No, it's the end of season 1.
No, end of season 1 is the showdown at Cremation Creek.
Wait, I thought the end... No, you're right about Showdown at Cremation Creek. Okay, never mind.
So, midway through season 1, we're treated to a court proceeding of Dr. Venture's arch nemesis, the Mighty Monarch! And he is a butterfly-themed villain. But it's cool because they're monarch butterflies, which are toxic when you eat them. So When you eat them. I sustained myself on a steady diet of milkweed, thus assuring my toxicity to this day. So, oh god, there's so many great introductions. We first get introduced to the Monarch in a episode where they're in Mexico during Dia de los Muertos, and Brock Sampson dies, kind of, and Speedy. Oh god, Speedy!
Oh, Speedy.
Poor Speedy!
He was this close.
He was this close to getting his wings.
I know. You got Speedy.
It's like, where's Speedy? See, Brock Sampson came in. Oh god, I don't need to know. My god, poor Speedy.
So, the voice that me and Pete keep doing is one of my favorite characters.
Henchman 24.
Yeah, Henchman 21 and 24, because they're pretty much a pair.
They are.
5 solid seasons.
They're the Bert and Ernie of henchmen.
Yeah.
It's hilarious. So, basically just like... It's basically Fanboy and the Straight Man.
Yeah.
And the Straight Man is voiced by Kermit the Frog or something.
A beard is not a substitute for a joint, no matter how you trim it. Look at you, a Seinfeld. I've never known that's how you look.
This is weird. I know! There's an episode when they see each other out of costume for the first time, and they've worked together for years. But, they're in the costume henchman life, so, wear the uniform.
Yeah, they have private rooms. They don't have barracks. They actually live pretty well considering how other henchmen live.
Pretty much, yeah. It's
especially Underbite's henchmen.
Oh god, Underbite.
Because remember the scene where it's like Underbite's henchman, who is another villain, who we don't really need to go into detail on, even though he's kind of cool. And the Monarch's henchmen are there, and there's that one dude who's like, "I used to be on crack cocaine. Monarch got me off crack cocaine." I love that name.
That is great. Oh, man. So, Where was I?
We were talking about the Monty Monarch.
Oh,
The Guild of
yes.
Calamitous
So
Intent.
there's when we were first introduced to the Guild of Calamitous Attendants during a court proceeding when the monarch is on trial for basically just well, he's actually on trial for killing a police officer, but he was set up and it's a whole thing. But it also has one of my favorite lines of not just this show, but probably of any show and almost all TV shows in perpetuity throughout the universe, and that is this place is crawling with strangers. Well, you can't expect to know everybody, Brock. No, Dean, strangers are guild agents. In many ways, they're one of the only people I still respect. And they kill clean! Don't let dames get in the way! Jesus Christ, Hank, where do you pick that up? I never see you read! I know, right? It's like he's channeling dead crazy people!
You think it's a cry for help?
It's like he's channeling dead crazy people!
He pulls it out so fast, and then the next time they like majorly talk about that is the episode with the hat.
Yes, when
Keep
it goes all detective noir.
Oh my gosh, so good. So the Monarch's the major villain throughout the series. He's Venture's arch nemesis, like legally in writing, formally sanctioned by the guild arch nemesis.
Yeah, so the guild has like this whole thing where if you want to arch somebody, you gotta be a good match for that arch. Their whole thing is like being an even match, because otherwise you just get like villains who are armed with nothing but their fists, like this poor sap named Turnbuckle, who tried to kidnap Rusty Venture when he was just a kid, and then he got executed by the Action Man from the old Team Venture.
I love the Action Man.
Like, you face Turnbuckle! Just imagine that meme of that like guy with like the fisticuffs guy, you know? It's basically him. And then he just basically gets his head smashed in with the butt of Action Man's gun, and then when he tells Action Man to go fuck himself, he turns around and shoots him in the face.
Dude, Action Man does not screw around.
Action Man does not have time for that bullshit.
Do you know what Action Man's name is a reference to?
I knew at one point, but
it's another David Bowie song called Ashes to Ashes.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
Because he says on the boat when like Major Tom's dying, he goes, ashes to ashes.
Yeah. So yeah, the guild is all about pairing a villain with a against a protagonist, sort of, I guess is the right word, that matches that level. Otherwise, you know, you don't get that like tete-a-tete of, you know, good rivalry.
Yeah, you don't want somebody just kicking down Dr. Walrus's door and then vaporizing him in an instant.
Well, it was Dr. Dugong.
Poor Dr. Dugong. Too pure for this world.
Give us the plans or the key or whatever you have. I have a tank of gentle cuttlefish. Give us the cuttlefish, then. I can't do this. Oh, you were so close. He's such a weenus! Anyway, to those who don't know, a weenus is actually the name for that flap of skin on your elbow.
I'm touching mine right now.
You should always touch your weenus when given the opportunity.
So, Pete, who else do we run into in season 1?
So we run into Dr. Waylon, Billy Quizboy, and Pete White. And these are two, like, okay, one's a they're basically Pinky in the Brain.
Yeah.
They're exactly Pinky in the Brain. Because Pete White has a pink shirt, and he's stupid. He's dumb. He's a terrible, like, he calls himself a scientist, but, okay, so he would be a doctor in the same way that somebody made business cards with their names on them and put Dr. period in front of their name, the way they're a doctor. He's a doctor like Dr. Pepper's a doctor.
I don't think this man's ever been to medical school.
But he's basically like just a big-ass mooch on Billy Quizboy, who is really really good at his work. He's a world-renowned surgeon who successfully transplanted a heart.
Now, Pete, can you do a Billy Quizboy impression for us?
I did earlier.
You did? Oh, yeah, you
Yeah.
did! Never mind, sorry.
He's got a robot hand too, and there's one episode that references like the end of Empire Strikes Back where he's like testing out the like tendons and everything. Just like, do you have to do that every time? Yeah, it just gets a little buggy when I do sensitive work. How do you get that anyway? That's an excellent question. I have no idea.
And the episode where they cover that is one of the best episodes of the show.
And it's, oh my god, it's so wonderful.
One of my favorite moments from it? The nozzle.
Do not look away from the nozzle.
Please remain still while calibrating the nozzle.
And then the nozzle goes away, and then the two people come in. It's like, what was that nozzle? I have no idea.
Oh, that's another one of my favorite characters. Okay, you have to talk about him.
Obviously. So, aside from the Guild of Calamitous Intent, we have the OSI, the Office of Secret Intelligence. So, the OSI, every single person in this agency is insane.
Oh, yeah.
Just nuts. Favorite is Colonel Hunter Gathers, who's based on Hunter S. Thompson, and it's amazing.
Hunter Gatherers is the most proud military man the OSI has ever seen. He once stabbed a Jamaican man with his own child. It is the most effective thing I have ever seen in my entire life.
Do not backlash me! I will rip your legs off and feed you to rabid communists! Anyway, so yes, any episode with Colonel Gathers, who eventually makes the jump to General Gathers because he becomes head of the OSI after General Traster takes his leave. General Traster is also insane, and it's amazing.
Oh gosh, who voices him? He's the dude who, he was in, not Bedeviled. He was in that movie with Brendan Fraser and Elizabeth Hurley.
But,
oh gosh, you know the one I'm talking about. But he also plays the voice of Cotton Hill, and this is pretty much Cotton's voice again.
Yes, it's wonderful. Just anyway, so Colonel Gathers has a long and interesting career serving the OSI, including but not limited to cutting off and reattaching his own testicles.
Yep.
Just damn. Like, there was a whole Big Trouble in Little China bit around that, where it's just like, this man was like a father to me! Well, think of this woman as a mother to you. And he just starts slapping the doctor. It's your father! Your mother! Your father! Your mother!
Your mother! It's your mother!
It's your mother!
And they never, like, because they could have just made that like a one-shot episode and never brought him back. But I think they had so much fun doing his voice.
He was such a good character. And they were like, there's no way we can just let this go.
Because
like,
they brought him back when he's still a woman.
Yes.
In a strip club.
Yep. Oh, man. So, aside from Colonel Gathers, we have Shore Leave, who is wonderful, like one of the most wonderfully flamboyant gay people in all of fictional television.
I love Shore Leave.
He is so great. He gets kidnapped by Zeus. It's like, Shore Leave! You must come with me! And his immediate reaction is, I have been waiting for this since I was 9!
Because he's a parody of, like, your catty gay character.
Yes.
Well, he is your catty gay character, but put into the body of the sailor from G.I. Joe.
Yeah.
That's all you need to know about that.
That is all you need. It's just, oh my god. Like, everybody in the OSI has such a great rapport with each other. Like, Shore Leave is great with Brock Sampson. Brock Sampson's great with Hunter Gathers. Hunter Gathers is great with Shore Leave. And then you get Mile High, who's like the one black guy.
Who was in a pretend relationship with Shore Leave that wasn't that pretend.
No. And it's like, I pretended to be gay with Shore Leave. Oh, yes. And I pretended to enjoy having sex with you every night. It's just so great. And then we have Dr. Volcano, who was the guy who did the sex reassignment surgery for for Colonel Gathers, and he's kind of got that Dr. Moreau vibe about him.
Uh-huh.
He doesn't show up very much. He's not used that much. And that's fine.
There's another doctor we see way more, and she is just great.
So great. So, going back to the Guild of Calamitous Intent, I want to talk about Dr. Girlfriend, who becomes Dr. Mrs. the Monarch. And she is easily the most capable villain in the entire show.
Yes, she is. She's great.
Like, she is actually, like, she has common sense, which in this show is a superpower, apparently.
She has genius intellect because she built all the Monarch stuff.
She does, yeah.
All of it, because he's an idiot.
Now, I can't talk about Dr. Girlfriend or Dr. Mrs. the Monarch, same person, but, different titles, without talking about the murderous Moppets, Tim, Tom, and Kevin.
Ah.
I love Tim, Tom, and Kevin. There's an episode where Rusty is running a day camp to raise some extra scratch to pay the bills and everything like that because, again, he's a hack scientist, so the only thing he can really do is live off his fame as a child star / boy adventurer. So, in order to spy on the Venture compound, the Monarch enlists the help of the two Moppets, these little psychotic midgets, to just, do reconnaissance around the Venture compound. And, this is also the first episode we meet Dermot. And Brock hates Dermot with a passion, and it's wonderful to watch this.
Because he can't hurt the kid, because he's a kid. He can't, just punch him.
He can't hurt the kid. He wants to punch him, but he talks to... who do you talk to about this? I think he talked to Orpheus? He talked to Orpheus, and it's like, I can't hit him, but I can get another kid to beat him up! Yeah! It's like, that's not what I meant. Too late, I'm already doing it! So he's talking to the Moppets about beating up Dermot, and they're immediately taking it way too far. It's like, you want us to cut out his tongue? Yeah, cut out his eyes. Yeah, with a knife. Yeah, a bigger knife. Fucking knife!
I'm starting to think this is a bad idea.
You guys are kind of freaking me out. I'm starting to think this idea was kind of stupid. In that scene, or in that episode, we get to see Dean completely lose his shit and beat up Dermot. Dean is a gangly little kid that you wouldn't expect to be able to hurt, I want to say... Well, I don't know. If he fell on it, he could probably do some damage to a fly.
He's the kind of kid you would expect to pee himself when he gets scared.
He does pee himself when he gets scared.
Hey, nail on the head.
Yeah.
Speaking of things on the head, his fist Dermot's face.
Yes. It was great. And then when they're like, hey, break it up. And Brock is just like, let them be kids. Yeah! It's so horrible. But it's so great. It's one of those things where it's like, I know I should laugh at this, but it's so funny.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah. So, more supporting characters. We have Sergeant Hatred. Once Dr. Venture's arch nemesis, after the Monarch was no longer qualified to be his arch nemesis, or something like that. After the Monarch was thrown in jail.
Yeah, Monarch was reassigned.
Yeah. So then Sergeant Hatred became Dr. Venture's nemesis, and he was so pleasant about the whole thing. And the reason why is that he was never about making Dr. Venture's life hell. He was all about pissing off the Monarch, which was great. And he lays out his whole plan in this wonderful scene where he's hosting a party and he and the Monarch are in a hot tub. It's like, I've been at this game a long time, Monarch. I know when to bide my time until the time is right. I know that you want Venture to be your arch nemesis, but he's mine now, and I'm gonna make him breakfast in bed. I'm gonna make his life wonderful, and there isn't squat you can do about it.
Because hatred has a hatred for the monarch because the
Yes.
monarch keeps stealing his technology. Because the monarch can't make technology because the monarch
Yeah.
is an idiot.
Pretty much exactly that. And
yeah, this is the blind arching the blinded, like with their relationship.
it's wonderful. And oh my god. Sergeant Hatred, the only real hitch that I have with loving Sergeant Hatred as much as I do as a character is that he's a pedophile.
Yeah.
That will put the brakes on any fan base getting too out of hand.
Yeah.
Except, I guess, like, he took medication to no longer be a pedophile because, hey, show logic.
Oh,
Whatever.
gosh, what was the name of that pill?
No molestol.
That's right.
Actually, it was an injection, but anyway.
Because he locks himself in the panic room because he's like, boys!
I'm gonna get in the X1 and I'm gonna go to Thailand and get me a cute little boy girl to keep under my bed for when the cravings come. Meanwhile, Hank and Dean are talking him down like he's an alcoholic having a break. It's just,
oh, gosh.
it's like, hatred? What is step number 7? Make a fearless moral inventory? Yes, and what are you doing? I don't know what a moral inventory is! He's also, like so many other characters in the show, is so fun to impersonate. It's great.
Oh, yeah. Because, well, when that happens when you have shows that are done by, like, maybe 15 people.
Yes.
So you have guys who are doing, like, 2-3 voices. Because the guy who does the voice of Dr. Venture is also the voice of the Sovereign.
Yes. Who is David Bowie, but not really.
The Sovereign is the head of the Guild of Calamitous Intent, and he's the organizer for it. And it is David Bowie.
Well, it turns out it's not David Bowie.
What? Oh, is this like season 6 stuff?
You watched season 6?
No, I didn't. I have season 6. I haven't watched it yet.
What?
So, for those like who don't know, Pete watched season 6 because he watched my copy, which is why he's so shocked that I haven't seen it yet.
Not only did I watch it, I must have watched this season
so many times.
I've watched this whole series at least 6 times.
And now you have the ability to watch all the seasons.
Yes, I do. I mean, I always did because I have the DVDs. Anyway,
but now you can watch it on your phone.
I'm running out of time, and I have so many more characters I want to talk about. So I'm just gonna like run through like my absolute favorites. Dr. Henry Killinger.
Before you go off that, while we're still talking about the Sovereign, my favorite line from the Sovereign is when they're setting up the wedding and David Bowie's going to walk out to go deliver the bride.
Yes.
So I'm like, and then you go out, and he's like, I know when to go out. That is a reference to a song. We're going to get things done. Is it the beginning of Modern Love? I think it's the beginning of Modern Love. But that is another reference to another David Bowie song.
Yes. So next up, Dr. Henry Killinger and his magic murder bag.
Who is Dr. Henry Kissinger, just with a spooky mask, and he's maybe the devil?
Okay. He is, I think, a vampire or something like that. But he's basically evil Mary Poppins.
Yeah.
He shows up, drastically improves any villain situation. Like, he's the guy that comes in and revamps the whole operation, increases the quality of training,
efficiency,
issues new uniforms and does team building exercises. He's fucking great.
Organization. The episode where he goes to the venture compound is freaking
He goes
great.
to the venture compound and he improves everybody's lives there, and it's amazing. and then he kicks out Dr. Orpheus. I'm going to talk about Dr. Orpheus in a minute because I can't not talk about Dr. Orpheus. Anyway, so he kicks out Dr. Orpheus and Dr. Orpheus goes to gripe about it to Brock, and it's like, I was mad when he kicked me out, and of course I was pissed when he told me I owed all that back rent, but he actually showed me how I can write it all off on my taxes, so now I'm getting way more back from the IRS, and I've actually come out ahead of the game.
So good.
It's fantastic. Okay, Dr. Orpheus rents a living space on the Venture compound. And he is a master necromancer, and he has a flair for the dramatic, and it's amazing. I know I say that a lot of things in this show are amazing, and it's purposeful, because it's amazing.
Yeah, because Dr. Orpheus was a Doctor Strange parody before Doctor Strange was, like, widely known.
Yes, it's wonderful. And right off the bat, everybody in the show thinks that he's a vampire. Because he dresses like a fucking vampire. He's even got that, like, jewel on his chest or whatever, that thing that keeps his cape clasped shut.
I've made one of those because I made his cape once. I burned my hands.
Yes.
Hot glue.
Hot glue. Anyway. So, where was I going with this? Yes. He has a flair for the dramatic, and he loves just explaining things in just these dramatic ways. Just, do you know what necromancer means? Means you like having sex with dead people? File! Necrophile! Necromancer is something entirely different!
Now, sweetie, Daddy's had lots of famous clients. Evel Knievel, Ronald Reagan until he stopped paying.
Oh, dude, I just completely spaced. Showdown at Cremation Creek wasn't season 1 at all. I mean, it's technically season 1 when compared to, like, the show's running, but season DVD-wise, Showdown at Cremation Creek was season 2, because season 1 ends with the Venture Boys dying!
That's right! So, we need to talk about this. The best part about this show is the murders.
So many murders. So, the Venture Boys are death-prone. This becomes very apparent. And
because season 1, they get, like, Easy Rider, like, shotgun out the side window, blah, blown off the road, and the camera zooms out exactly like it did in Easy Rider. And it's, like,
yep.
It's, like, heartbreaking, and when they cut back to it, Dr. Orpheus is there just, like, bawling, because these boys are dead, and he was supposed to protect them.
Yes.
And then, yeah.
And then Dr. Orpheus has, like, this whole crisis of conscience where it's like, I'm a necromancer, I need to help, this is my whole thing, I can do this, why is everybody being so calm about this? The boys died! They died in front of us! So, he tries to go to the land of the dead to resurrect the Venture Boys. Doesn't quite work, but, the boys show up on his doorstep. With partially developed skin, almost zero motor skills, and can't really talk aside from, like, a zombie grunt.
Yeah, they're like a combination of a man and fetus.
And now, Dr. Orpheus thinks that that this is a result of, like, something that went wrong with his ritual. And in telling Dr. Venture and...
Wait, you saw the boys?
Samson about this, like, saw them? I made them a fucking milkshake!
My favorite line from Dr. O in that episode.
So great. So it turns out that since the boys are so death-prone, Dr. Venture has a lot of clones of the boys on standby, which he then basically downloads all the memories of the boys to the clone slugs, which is what they call them, they're clone slugs, and then it's basically like, okay, here they are. They are Hank and Dean. They have all the same memories. They have all the same, annoying tendencies, and blah, blah, blah. And, oh my god. When Dr. Orpheus is trying to channel the boys' souls, it's like, Dean forgives you. He knows you tried. Oh, but Hank is irate. He calls you a crumb bum. And then in front of the clone slugs, just like, Hank, you are never to call your father a crumb bum in front of company.
No. You're missing the, like, good bit. Because it's like, a crumb bum. Or maybe a crampon. I can't really tell. In a crampon, one of those things that you use for climbing? It's definitely crumb bum. Hank?
Yes.
It's one of those, like, little moments that just, like, raises it.
There are so many great little moments in this show. And, oh my god, there's still so many characters that I want to talk about.
And because of that, and because you're running out of time, we are about to go to the speed round.
Speed round!
Pete, you have 30 seconds
Anyway.
to talk about the character that I name off. You have to say anything you want about them, but it would be best if you named off their favorite moment. Are you ready?
Yep.
Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay, Maul.
Okay. Russian assassin has like a weird metal chastity belt and constantly just gives Brock blue balls, and it's amazing. And then there was the first time they met, and she did a backflip and lit a cigarette off of a match that she lit on that she scratched on the ceiling, and all Brock could say was fucking incredible.
Professor Impossible.
Professor Impossible, voiced by Stephen Colbert, basically a
Bill
ripoff
Hader for the
of
later seasons.
Bill Hader for the later seasons, but Stephen Colbert for the first episode that he was featured, and basically just a ripoff of Mr. Fantastic from the Fantastic Four, and oh god, what was the
Don't worry about it. Pirate Captain.
Pirate Captain? He has no other name besides Pirate Captain, and he's just he's at his happiest when he gets to be a fake pirate. And oh god, what was? Oh god, my mind's going blank on favorite parts.
It all tastes like Sargasso, no matter how you cook it.
It's like after years of eating hot sargassum, which no matter how you cook it, just tastes like hot sargassum.
Phantom Limb.
Phantom Limb. Okay, this Ricardo Montalban sounding motherfucker basically turned all of his extremities invisible, including his dick, which the alchemist took after the ships blew up at Cremation Creek, where he's like, did somebody lose a squish? Oh, I'm keeping this. And he can kill people just by touching them, and it's amazing because there was one episode where he faked out some henchmen by pretending that he had his arms and legs ripped off, and then Brock Sampson's like, have a heart! Put one between his eyes! My god, do I have to do it? Give me those guns! And then they hand him the guns, and then he tosses them away, and then he beats the shit out of them, and he makes one of them stick their finger up their own butt.
Okay, that was over 30 seconds, but that was great.
Oh, Baron Underbite. Okay, super German guy who got his lower jaw blasted off in a science experiment, and he has never forgiven Rusty Venture for that because you never abandon your lab, buddy. And he can launch his metal jaw off like a boomerang, and that's about all he can do. But he rules over Underland, which is...
Time. Old Team Venture.
Old Team Venture. So we have the Action Man.
We're going to go over all of them individually. Just run down to the Old Team Venture.
All right. Action Man, Colonel Gentleman, Kano, Otto Aquarius, Dr. Entman, and Ook Ook. So, Action Man, crazy son of a bitch with guns. It basically like Deadpool, but less self-aware. Colonel Gentleman, Sean Connery ripoff. Also flaming gay, but like in the closet, but like also kind of classy gay, I guess. Anyway, Kano, mute, super buff Asian dude who may or may not have killed Dr. Venture Sr. Otto Aquarius, Aquaman ripoff, who's kind of like, he looks exactly like a sea monkey off, the box of sea monkeys. You know how they're illustrated like that? Looks exactly like that. And now he's a super churchy Jesus type, and I kind of want to smack him right in the gills for that one. Dr. Entman started off super giant, and then he got shrunk down to the size of an ant, so he's basically Ant-Man from Marvel. And then he got squished by the Action Man because he was rocking back in a rocking chair, and the rocking chair just squished him. He dead. And then Ook Ook, who is a caveman that was frozen in ice and joined Team Venture on their escapades, and he just clubbed things to death.
All right, and last, give us your favorite General Tracer line.
I want everyone to come up with solutions before I finish this juice box. Warning! I am thirsty, and it is fruit punch, and it is delicious.
All right. What else have we got? So that's it. Pete, let's like wrap up Venture Brothers for us.
Okay, so it starts off so simple, and then it becomes so complex and wonderful. And chances are, if you just watch like the first 3 episodes, you're gonna be hooked, line and sinker. Good thing is you got plenty of time to catch up because the new season doesn't start until like November. So there's that. Okay, let's do our wrap up. Bart, why do you love a Very Brady sequel?
I love self-aware stuff that's just poking fun at it. It's dumb. It's one of those, it's dumb. We don't have to hold it up like it's a bastion of clever writing. It's not. It's the Brady Bunch. Let's just have fun with this. And they did. It was great.
Nice. What do you hate about it?
The thing I hate about it is that it's not easily shared. So, like, if you get it, if you're laughing at it, you look like you love it. If you don't, it's very, like, dividing. Like, you either love it or, like, you just don't get it. And you're like, they're acting really dumb. And you're like, well, that's a point. They're acting really dumb. But yeah, I think that's what gets me is that if you like it and get it, then you get it. And if you don't, there's no way to bring those people into the fold. You have to be aware of the thing it's parodying to get it.
Nice. So what do you, who would you recommend this for?
People who have watched the Brady's, like anybody like 25 and up. I wouldn't recommend it for anybody below that because they didn't really grow up with that. Like, what was a 90s sitcom that you can make a comparison to? Like Alan Thicke? Like Growing Pains?
Oh, yeah.
If you can make a Growing Pains parody, I guess that'd be the like closest thing you can get to it.
Right on.
I watched a lot of Growing Pains. It's not that great a show. But yeah, that's it for me. So, Pete, why do you love the Venture Brothers?
I love the Venture Brothers because it takes two completely opposite ideas. It takes the ridiculous, surrealist, unrealistic universes of the boy adventurer, where there can be ghost robots and Greek gods and secret agencies within secret agencies, and combine that with a actual like real life reaction to these things. Like some of the characters are written to play this completely straight and ask questions, and it's amazing.
Dude, I love the dude who he was on the space station and he comes down for like the Manchurian Candidate thing and he's like, stars! It's full of stars!
Oh, the Ghost of Abraham Lincoln's in this show too.
Oh, did we not mention that?
Yeah, no, we didn't.
The best shows have a Lincoln. Star Trek, the original series, had a Lincoln. This show has a Lincoln. Adventure Time has the King of Mars.
Yes.
The best shows have a Lincoln. Fairly Odd Parents had a Lincoln. Man, we really love making fun of Lincoln. Clone High?
Clone High had a Lincoln.
And so moving on from that, moving on from our Lincoln discussion, because this is the Lincoln cast, where we talk about Illinois' favorite son. Pete, what do you hate about Venture Brothers?
It's something that I hate about a lot of things, and that is when I know there are references and I don't get them.
Yes.
I hate that so much because I want to get those references.
So when the clones are like marching in like that one scene and they're wearing the like blue Speedos,
they're not wearing anything.
No, they're wearing Speedos.
When the clones are marching with Sergeant Hatred?
Yeah.
No, they weren't wearing Speedos. That was the Venture logo covering their junk.
No, that wasn't the Venture Brothers logo. That was Speedos that are referencing David Lynch's Dune.
Oh, son of a bitch. See? That's another one. I didn't get it. I thought it was like a weird way to go with like the black bar covering people's junk.
No, it's not. It is a reference within it. Dude, this show, like you said, it's full of them. But
it's full of references. You're going to get some references. It's impossible not to get at least some. But then there are going to be some things that you know is a reference because it's got that referencey feel to it, and you're going to get pissed off because you don't get it. So that reference wasn't for you, it was for that guy.
It's you can feel the like elbow through the screen prodding you to be like, ah, ah.
Yeah, it's just.
All right, and last thing, who is Venture Brothers a good fit for?
I would highly recommend Venture Brothers to anybody who likes sort of those like hokey little like boy adventure things. Like if you ever read like Tom Sawyer, or if you ever watched stuff like VR Troopers or Johnny Quest or what is it? Not Rin Tin Tin, The Adventures of Tintin, or pretty much anything like that. And if you like the whole like complex interwoven sort of histories between characters and whole organizations that you kind of get from like Game of Thrones, you're going to dig this show. It's just going to be fun. And if you just like funny voices, fucking watch this show because it's got them. It's got them in spades.
Yeah, I think this is the perfect like high school college show because it's like kind of anachronistic. It doesn't really take place in a specific time. So
and it really doesn't take itself seriously at all. Like
oh, no.
it jokes about itself a lot. It's great.
All right, and that is it for us.
Yes,
that is it for us this week. Pete, thank you for being on the show as you are every week.
Yeah,
and
thank
also thank
you for being on the show as you are every week.
It's lovely when he pinches my cheek through the screen like that. And
you adorable little butter biscuit.
Shut up. Thank you to OK Go for their song Here It Goes Again off the album Oh No, You Know Them. You have no idea who we are. Pete, you know what you're going to do next week?
I'm going to talk about Wreck-It Ralph.
Ooh, nice.
Because the sequel's coming out this year, and I'm fucking stoked.
I never liked it that much. Like, it's a great film, but I never thought a Pixar movie ever needed a sequel.
Well, I mean, people are like drooling about Incredibles 2, so.
Because people want more Incredibles, because they're like, this is the best
and
Pixar
honestly,
movie.
Toy Story 2 and 3 were both really good. I actually like both of those better than Toy Story 1.
Ooh, I go 1 and probably 2. I've never really seen 3 all the way through.
Dude, Toy Story 3 made me cry.
There's lots of movies that make you cry.
Shut up! No, you're crying!
He's taking this well. I have no clue. I have no clue what I'm going to do next week. I should figure that out. Luckily, I got to talk about some old 70s sitcoms. But that's all we got for this week. We've got to go. Thanks for listening, folks.
Bye, Sponch.
Buy some Sponch. Yeah, buy Sponch.